So the way I think about crypto networks generally is that you have kind of nation states in the real world, and then you have crypto networks, which are like these kind of virtual nation states. You could think about them. And you have Ethereum as like the kind of base layer, like a country, for example. And then within that, you have states or provinces or whatever you want to call them. And those are the things like the L2s, like Arbitrum, for example. So I think if you use the real world analogy of like California, Silicon Valley, being a really rich place because of the tech boom, like embracing the tech boom over the last couple of decades. Arbitrum seems to have done the same thing, where they've invested heavily in the DeFi side of things, in the finance side of things, and have been able to grow that ecosystem and attract a lot of capital and attract a lot of talent and build a nice culture around that too. The culture of like, we want to win, we want to be a big player here, and we understand that finance is the main use case right now of blockchains and probably going to be in the foreseeable future. So let's focus on that, and then we can bring everything else there. From a technical standpoint, what Arbitrum has always done, kind of looked at the market, looked at the ecosystem as it exists, and then seen where the gaps are in the tech. Over the years, it's been really impressive to see, even though Arbitrum was one of the earliest kind of layer 2 projects to not only kind of come onto the scene, but also go live, how they've maintained their #1 position, essentially, in the face of like all these other new L2s that have come online, but also with activity, mindshare, like everyone that I talk to about Arbitrum, specifically Arbitrum 1, they really love using it. They love that it's fast, the cheap fees, everything that they want is on there, all the popular DeFi protocols, some exclusive ones to Arbitrum. But then Arbitrum as an ecosystem is so much bigger than Arbitrum 1 now. There's so many other things going on. So it's just been really inspiring to see that even if you launch something really early, you can still stay on top. There are other L2s that are focusing on different kind of niches, centralized social media, maybe NFTs, kind of that sort of stuff. But Arbitrum 1 seems to be really focused on DeFi and has grown a really robust DeFi ecosystem. And I do think that once you've got that foundation of kind of a financial layer there, then you can have the other things as well, because you've already got the users. So you can kind of incorporate those financial primitives into non-financial applications, and the users can just like easily switch between them and remain in the same ecosystem there. So another thing that Arbitrum has been really forward-looking on is decentralization and security as well. And those things kind of go hand in hand. But there is this whole framework around layer 2s called the stages framework. And this was something Vitalik came up with. And there's like stage 0, stage 1, and stage 2. And each stage that you hit, there's different kind of parameters related to decentralization and security. And Arbitrum has been the ecosystem pushing forward on this the most. Currently, Arbitrum 1 is a stage 1 chain, been very loud about wanting to get to stage 2 as soon as they can. Contrary to the other ecosystems, that a lot of them are stage 0, which is basically a centralized chain. When you're stage 0, there's obviously a reason for that. Like when you're really early as a kind of ecosystem, as a chain, it makes sense. But Arbitrum has just pushed the frontier there. They've said, no, well, we want to make Arbitrum 1 a stage 2 as soon as possible. We want to get to there. We want to become more trusted in the ecosystem. And I think that is a major reason why so much capital is on Arbitrum 1. Like for me personally, I've done this as well, where I look at, okay, if I put my money on Arbitrum 1, how can I lose it? Like what's the, as we call in crypto, rug risk of this? And I can go on the L2Beat website and see this. What powers do they have over my capital? And then adjust accordingly. And I think, as I said, that's why you see so much money on Arbitrum 1 and staying there as well. A lot of projects within the crypto ecosystem are now trying to go outside of crypto because we maybe have saturated the existing user base. With the Robinhood partnership that Arbitrum has done, that's huge, right? Because automatically now Robinhood users are Arbitrum users once the Robinhood kind of chain launches. That to me was like one of the most bullish things to happen, because as we're seeing in the broader ecosystem right now, there's a massive institutional kind of push, adoption push. But I think Arbitrum is seeing success because they invested in the Arbitrum Orbit system early on and basically said, hey, come and build your own chain using our technology. We're not going to lock you down into anything. We're going to help you do this. We're going to onboard you into this new on-chain ecosystem. Kind of in the slogan, right? Arbitrum everywhere. It's like we want the Arbitrum ecosystem technology, whatever it is, we want it to be everywhere within crypto, but also outside of crypto. And that's why there's different kind of technologies that have been developed, like Stylus, like Arbitrum Orbit, and different use cases as well, not just DeFi, but the gaming and everything, to make sure that wherever you go, whatever use case you're interested in, Arbitrum is there in some way, like some kind of presence there. And that's kind of similar to what Ethereum has done with the EVM. So the EVM exists outside of Ethereum, but that's okay because like that's Ethereum. You're training more Ethereum developers. Like this is great for Ethereum. So I think it's the same with like Arbitrum. As long as Arbitrum is everywhere, like as the slogan says, that's good for the Arbitrum ecosystem. And I think that's a really good approach because it means that not only is the Arbitrum ecosystem very welcoming to everyone, it also means that no one feels like if they build using Arbitrum's technology somewhere else, that they're going to get in trouble for it or get hate for it. They're actually going to be embraced. And then maybe they eventually say, okay, well, we're just going to keep building in the Arbitrum ecosystem. Like this other ecosystem was cool, but like Arbitrum is doing all this really great stuff. They love us. They're supporting us, we're going to go there. So yeah, just having that network effect build within all these ecosystems, kind of like a Trojan horse in the competitor ecosystems as well, I think is the right approach.